Hey guys, I know that I'm going to get better and better at using this YouTube thing. Uh, when just so you know, when Zoom is connecting to YouTube, it has a screen that comes up. It says like setting up, and then I know that it's already working, but I'm not seeing it. So it's interesting. It's so I got to get better at timing when the video starts, and I am getting better and better at trying to look at you, smile, and click the end meeting button all at the same time too. But that's all something that comes with experience, repetition, and the new way of doing things in this virtual space. So this is the second morning that I'm coming to you guys direct, and I'm going to do this for a long time. I've already got this set up on a recurring schedule, factored into my Calendly settings and things like that. So, when people go to the homepage of, the learning management system, when people go to the academy for Mañana no Mas, the homepage invites people to, schedule an appointment with me, right? 15 minutes, 30 minutes, or an hour. And that Calendly thing, has the times that I'm available for you. And so I use that and pretty religiously, and it's been really, really cool. Yesterday, I talked a little bit about scheduling things with people on LinkedIn. And I said, hey, I'm doing more LinkedIn appointments than I've ever done. I just got off the phone with one. Ryan Crittenden. Hopefully I'm saying his name the right way. Crittenden. When I met him in 2016. This is how cool I think that the LinkedIn thing is. So I met Ryan in 2016 in person at the John Maxwell IMC in Orlando, Florida. And he was a youth pastor at the time. I met him. He had a great energy. I'd done some youth pastoring in the past, so we kind of had that connection. And he was just an engaging dude. There was another guy that I met at the same time named Justin. He was from, I think, Wyoming, right? So here's a guy from Wyoming. Here's a guy from Montana. I was in California, but had lived in Colorado and New Mexico prior, right? So I just felt like I kind of had something in common with these guys. And then over time, you lose contact, you lose space, right? You share a couple of Facebook posts, you do a couple of emails, maybe a couple of phone calls, but over time, life begins to happen. And I used my John Maxwell stuff corporately, right? So I wasn't actively business building at that time. I was working my John Maxwell information from another standpoint, right? As being a good steward of the information corporately. I was building a team within a corporation. Whereas people like Justin and Ryan were going out and doing, training and team building and seminars and sessions, with other corporations, right? As a service provider, right? So a little bit different. And so we had lost contact. Well, I got a connection request from Ryan last week or beginning of this week, doesn't matter when, right? But immediately, boom, boom. Hey, dude, I think this is a reconnection, not a connection. And, are you open to having one of these 15-minute, get acquainted calls? And sure enough, he was. And what a pleasure that was. It's not so much that I'm here to just, pimp everybody, right? You got to be fairly selective of the people that you stand up, you hold the banner for. But when I meet these people on LinkedIn, I ask them, how can I help you, right? Like what can I do for you today? How could I add value to you today? What kind of obstacles do you have? What kind of things do you have going on? You might have heard the Rob Foray podcast that I had done, right? Well, a week or 10 days before that podcast was one of those 15-minute phone calls, right? And he was so engaging and so energetic during the 15-minute phone call. I said, man, you would be a great guest on the podcast. Would you be willing to come back and do a podcast with me? You can get your message out. I get another quality guest on the show. And I think it'd be a really good thing for both of us, right? And so that's how that happened. Well, with Ryan, it was like a reconnection. It was so cool, instantly it was like, he answered the phone. I was like, Ryan? And he goes, yeah. I go, dude, it's Kurt. And it was just like, boom, time didn't pass. And that to me is something that's kind of special, right? Like there's not a ton of people out there where I'm going to go, time didn't pass. And so it was like that with him. So I was really glad to get that done. That was this morning already. And he got married last July. He's finishing up a doctorate. He's going to be possibly doing some teaching at Colorado Christian University, and he's back in Colorado now. So, life just continues to spin for folks. I told you guys a list of things that I was going to do yesterday. And again, I encourage you, if you've got comments or questions or concerns or any of that, use the chat. If you're using the regular screen on YouTube on a computer, it's off on the right-hand side there. It says top chat. So if you've got something to say or chat, go ahead and throw that in. That'd be great. But I gave you guys a list of things yesterday that I thought that I was going to tackle. Some of it is done, some of it is not, right? But this is where I'm really big on goal setting, and I'm really big on milestones and organization, right? Efficiency. So let me just share with you kind of like how leadership and on-the-fly decision-making sometimes affects or changes things. I'm working out of the house. Got a wife and 2 kids back there, right? Right behind this wall, there's a wife and 2 kids. And so yesterday I had been in my little workspace working, and was working on the website. I had put out some social media posts already, scheduled those to propagate over the next day and a half. Had cleaned up my emails, right? Made sure the ones I wanted to read versus the ones I wanted to delete. People that I needed to respond to, I responded to. I had gone in and done my LinkedIn invitations for the 15-minute phone calls, right? People that have joined my network on a daily basis. I go through, and people that have joined, I always offer them a 15-minute get acquainted call. And so I'd gone and done all those invitations, and then I could hear something, right? And it wasn't happy voices. There's something else going on in the house. So I go in the house, and sure enough, people aren't happy. And I won't go into details because I don't think that's the right thing to do. I don't think, I should be on here throwing up dirty laundry, but people in the house aren't happy. And it hits me like a ton of bricks. I got stuff to do. They got stuff to do. They're homeschooled, so they've got stuff to do. But things aren't the same as they used to be, right? They don't have friends knocking on the door saying, hey, can so-and-so come out and play? Hey, you want to go, to the skate park? Do you want to do this? Do you want to do that? Do you want to go to the movies on Saturday? There's, that activity hasn't happened. And regardless of where you stand on the face mask, no face mask, 6 feet, not 6 feet, public areas, not public areas, wherever you stand on that, you can't get around the idea that things have changed, especially for our kids. And so I made up my mind right then and there. I said, let's cut the cord on the day, right? Let's cut this thing off. I'm going to go turn off the computer. You guys go get your shoes on. We're going out. And, we were out of milk. And I said, we'll stop at the store. We'll get some milk, maybe some ice cream, but we'll get down to Lake Elsinore. That's in Southern California. So we'll go down to Lake Elsinore. They got a really cool pump track down there. We'll take the bikes. You guys can ride your bikes down there, and then, we'll make up our mind from there and see what we go do next. And it was hot, man. It was almost 100 degrees down there. But me and my son went out. I was riding the pump track, going all the way around. I probably did, 15, 20 laps. Hayden was out there on a scooter. He tried the bike. It was a good time. It was a really good time. And then my wife had never seen Highway 74 on the way to the ocean. So I said, well, let's go. Let's do it. I want to be flexible. I want, what do you guys want to do? Right. And so we took a drive over the hill, showed her some mountain bike spots where I'd been mountain biking before. It's beautiful up there. Absolutely beautiful. The San Juan Capistrano area is up there. And then we dipped down the other side of the hill and we went to Dana Point. And I got to tell you, when we pulled into Lake Elsinore, we went down Main Street and restaurants were open and we could see people sitting inside enjoying meals. And then there was a couple clothing stores I saw that were open, which I found interesting, right? Because here in Corona, Kohl's is closed, right? Like I can't go buy stuff at Kohl's. I can go buy all I want at Walmart, but I can't go buy anything at Kohl's. but little boutique shops were open down in Lake Elsinore, and I thought, man, that's pretty cool. That is pretty cool. And we didn't see a bunch of people wearing masks. We saw people loading up dirt bikes and quads, and getting their fifth wheelers probably loaded up for the weekend, and that made me feel good inside too. And then we drove up over the hill into Dana Point. There were people all over the beach. So we went to Long Beach to pick up a Ducati to work on 2 weeks ago, right? And we got there. You weren't allowed to sit on the beach. You weren't allowed to stop on the beach. You had to walk. You had to be active. You could walk along with your feet in the water, but you weren't supposed to swim, but you could be surfing. But whoever makes up these lists, I think is just nuts. But anyway, in Long Beach, there was all kinds of rules about being on the beach. In Dana Point, the place was open, and we only saw 2 people wearing masks. One of them was an old lady on a tandem bicycle, and the other one was another older lady. I take that three, because there was some dude who had his mask around his chin, but his nose and his mouth was exposed, right? But he was wearing the mask like all tight, right up on his chin, like it was some kind of chin strap or something. But kids everywhere. Man, there was little kids, swimming, sandcastles, digging, hunting for crabs in the rocks. It was, some people would look at it and go, oh, look at all these fools. There's going to be a spike. There's, when these people die, blah, blah, blah. And then there's other people that will say, oh, look at them. Thank goodness they got out and they enjoyed a little piece of life. And, it was funny. My wife says, I can't believe all these people are down here at the beach. What are they thinking? Probably the same thing we are, because we're at the beach. And, but we did. We walked the beach down. We walked it back up. We didn't lay out or set up towels or, chairs or anything. But it was just nice to be able to go and walk the beach, see the ocean, see things happening. And that was pretty special. And then we picked up milk, ice cream, and came home. I think the reason I went through all that is to tell you that as much as I am focused on goal setting, and as much as I am focused on, hitting those milestones and knocking things down, as much as I'm focused on that, from a leadership perspective, I've got to be focused on the relational health of my tribe at the same time, right? And so if I have any encouragement for you this morning, it's, hey, if you had a list of stuff that you wanted to do yesterday and you didn't get it done, don't beat yourself up. Today's another day, right? If you sat around depressed, eating bonbons and drinking whiskey, well, then you need to reach out to somebody. And even if it's me, you can do that, right? But if, you were active and you were pursuing something, and then you got distracted and you felt that it was good to put your energy somewhere else for a limited time, well, then that was probably the right call, right? That's part of being a leader. It's part of, leader shifting, right? That's being able to make the decisions and do what you know is best at the time. And so yesterday kind of took a turn, and that's the direction it went in. Today is back to the grind. Like I said, I've already had the one meeting. I'm having a chat with you guys now. And, this Mañana no Mas morning check-in is going to be a daily thing. I want people to understand, what it takes to grow your own business, what it takes to, I'm building an online training community. So what does it take to build an online training community? What does it take to, to build a site, maintain a site, have a CRM in the back end of the site? Here's something that's interesting. One of the plugins that's a premium plugin that, I think everybody needs to use, they just reached, and I use it, I pay for it. They just reached out to me and they gave me some licenses that I can give away, right? And then I think about it and it's like, I know how to take a company virtual. I know how to build, a really effective membership-based learning website that can do e-commerce and customer relations management and sales funnels and all that in one spot. And so I gave it some thought. I did a presentation privately for somebody. I coached them on what I do. And they were like, this is amazing. Oh, I can't believe you're sharing all this with me. And I said, I think I need to share this with everybody. So I'm putting together a Zoom session on that. And at the end of that Zoom session, we will be using the raffle press to be able to give away a couple of those licenses. So, and that's kind of a big thing, right? And so I got that coming up. I'm not sure when I'm going to do it yet. I was thinking maybe I'll do it somewhere around the end of the first week of June. That would give me time to promote it and give people time to, kind of schedule that, make sure they can get there. But a lot of people ask me, they say, well, how do you do this? Or how did you learn this? Or, hey, and what's so funny is I worked for a manager who, he was famous for saying, well, all you got to do is, and like every time he would say, hey, can we do this, that, and the other, right? Can we do this project? I would say, yeah, that'd probably take a little bit of time. We could probably do that in 3 days. And then he would go, oh, well, all you got to do is, and then proceed to tell me how easy he thought it would be. And I'm like, okay, what you just described is the 3 days. That's what that's going to take. I don't want to oversimplify things and tell people, well, all you got to do is, right? There's a lot of moving parts to what I build, but once you go through the trial and error and you make the mistakes yourself and you realize what not to do the next time, it speeds things up quite a bit. And I've gotten really efficient at it. So I'm willing to share some of that with some folks. And I started thinking about it with everybody trying to go virtual and trying to catch up. Now's probably a really good time to share some of that. And so I'll do that. Like I said, I'll get that scheduled, start putting that together, probably the end of the first week of June. That'll be like 10 days from now. And so I think that kind of covers it for today. I say it all the time. I love you guys. If there's something that I can do, if there's a quick question I can answer for you, feel free to hit the chat. I say that all the time. If you jump on one of these lives, hit the chat. I told you guys yesterday, there's a reason why I'm growing out the YouTube channel. So if you are not currently following Mañana No Mas on YouTube, or looking at the playlists that I've been building to try and organize all these videos that are in here, please do, subscribe, share, like different videos that kind of, hit the chord for you. There's things in here about fitness. There's things in here about leadership. There's things in here about websites. There's interviews in here that I've done for the podcast. There's all kinds of stuff in this YouTube channel. And this is where I've been housing things and then embedding that material in other properties. But, you could go to the Mañana No Mas website and see a lot of the content that's here in the YouTube, or you could subscribe to the YouTube and, have access to a lot of it right here. But, if you subscribe and you hit the little thing for reminders or for notifications, then you won't miss the lives. And I think the lives are going to grow into something that's really pretty cool, where I'm able to share some things with you guys and able to take the feedback that you give me to make it even more engaging going forward. So have yourself a fantastic day. This is Thursday, in case you guys are on quarantine and can't remember what day it is. I love you and take care of yourself. We'll talk real soon.